Browns voluntary minicamp. Lots of controversy. No Myles Garrett, no Jerry Jeudy, no Denzel Ward. What will we do?
I don't know, man. Put the stats up on the quarterbacks. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, the dumbest thing. Who runs this quarterback tracker?
ESPN Cleveland.
I don't know. KNR.
I'll give them credit because nobody watches their shows, so they got to have something for people to pay attention to because it's the dumbest thing ever.
It is.
It's the dumbest thing. It's completely meaningless, and yet people pay attention to it like it matters.
Like it's like crack.
It has zero.
People come back to it every day.
The only reason they post it is because they want clicks and views. When fans complain about clicks and views, you're the blame. I got to blame you if you're paying attention to that.
Nobody's complaining to them for posting it, though.
No. Right,
you know what I mean? Like they want more.
Right. But that's the only reason it's there, because it has zero. Is there any value to it whatsoever?
No.
Yeah.
No. And I mean, you don't even know if it's accurate.
You don't know if it's accurate. Second of all, most of those reps are on air.
Right.
I mean, and even if there is a defender, they're not tackling. They're not doing anything.
There's no
quarterback
pass rush. Yeah.
It's so stupid to the point where people were using that last year as you should have let Shedeur play because of his numbers in practice. And that's not a knock at Shedeur. It's just it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Good, bad, otherwise. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I said it last year. I'll say it again this year.
I get why they do it, and if I were them, I'd probably do it too.
Yeah, sell your soul. You have to.
Not
right?
selling your soul. I mean, you're trying to
it does numbers.
Content.
It does numbers.
I'm with Dustin on this one. I'm actually very mad that we didn't think of it first.
But we're not out there every day. They have like
I know, but it would have been great
every day. That I think I don't want to say the person's name because I think I know who does it, but I'm not 100% sure, so I don't want to be wrong and giving someone the wrong name or giving someone credit.
Whatever, it doesn't matter.
But
we've talked about.
But they're out there tracking each throw by the quarterback. They have different eyes in different spots following it, which. Once again, like so good for them because it does serious social track. The one yesterday had over like 100,000 views.
Now we've given them more.
Here's what I wonder. Yeah. I wonder if like Watson and Shedeur, those guys, are like actually like thinking, oh man, they're going to post these stats. I better do good in 7-on-7 today.
I mean, if they do, they're losers.
It's losing battle if that is a legitimate mindset they have. Yes,
it's crazy. So, is there anything, Dustin, that as fans we can take from anything in voluntary minicamp? Not there isn't some value to being there,
I think
but from the outside.
You get a check-in of what these guys look like
at
this time of year. It's April 22nd today, so you would know, like, okay, did he come in looking like he's lost a little bit of weight? Has he put on some muscle? Do these guys look like they're in shape? I mean, like, those are things you can tell. If you're able to watch the practices, I mean, you would be able to say, like, okay, Deshaun looks good. Crisp passes, zip on the ball, like, you know, those are things you can look at. But in terms of it actually mattering for the fall, no, there's nothing here that's going to determine. Now, these guys will put a little bit of money in the bank with the coaching staff and with their teammates in terms of how they perform, but it's just a small piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. I talked to Zach Jackson yesterday, who was at this voluntary workout, got to see everything in person, and said, Zach, we're doing this topic tomorrow. What do I need to know? Did anything matter? And his answer was actually, there's two things I think you can take away that may not matter in the grand scheme, but as of today, when we're talking about it, at least worth looking into. They paid Zion Johnson the most money that any guard got in football in free agency this summer. He played left guard for 3 years, and he played right guard for 1 year in Los Angeles with the Chargers. Mm-hmm. He was the one starting lineman who did not rotate at all yesterday in practice. He was solidified in at left guard. As we've been kind of picking and choosing and putting the offensive line puzzle together, he was a guy that had played left, played right.
Yeah.
The fact that they paid him the money they did, and he played every snap yesterday at left guard while everyone else was rotating. And Todd Monken yesterday said if Elgin Jenkins was healthy, he would have been at center. Elgin Jenkins was healthy. He would have been at center rotating with Luke Whippler, meaning that position battle may not be done. The fact that Zion did not move from left guard, I think we could pencil him in, if he's healthy, as the week one left guard, not right guard starter. And secondly, and this one I think is kind of the bigger picture takeaway, Zach said that yesterday's workout was as close to a practice as any voluntary workout he's ever seen. There was no messing around. This wasn't slow pace. This wasn't let's ease into things. This was we hit the field, we are running. And the amount of team drills, 11-on-11, 7-on-7s, 1-on-1 competitive stuff that the Browns did yesterday, was night and day from what they did under Kevin Stefanski. Now, does that translate to winning? Does that translate to a better product on Sundays? Who knows? But at least Todd Monken was coming out and saying, and at least said, at least in the first day, we're not wasting any time. We're not easing into this. We have to establish our culture, establish our workload, establish the principles we want to instill in this team moving forward. From day one, on day one, let's hit the ground running. I think that's at least worth looking into and taking into consideration as we see the rest of these voluntary workouts come through, OTAs, rookie mini camps, and et cetera, on until training camp.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
I like that they're practicing somewhat hard, more comparatively to a regular practice. I think that's a positive. It doesn't mean they're going to win more games.
Doesn't change anything, but a philosophy.
And probably Zion Johnson's going to be the left guard. I don't know that it's a sure thing because it depends what happens in the draft. You never know. How that's going to turn about. But, yeah, okay, I'll buy that since he didn't rotate at all.
Just two little things.
It's more likely. I heard Ken say, I saw a clip from Ken Carmen this morning saying that Deshaun Watson, or not Deshaun Watson, but that Todd Monken said he's going to pick the starting quarterback at the beginning of training camp. So I texted Zach Jackson. I said, I didn't hear that. Is that true? And he said, well, he didn't definitively say that, but he alluded to it a number of times. Like, that's his plan. So I don't think it's set in stone that they're going to pick the starting quarterback at the beginning of training camp. But and now that I think about it, he has said that in the past. Like, it's ideal to have a quarterback. So I wouldn't say it's a guarantee that you're going to have a starting quarterback picked at the beginning of training camp. But Todd Monken's right. Like, this training camp competition is ultimately a losing situation for the most part.
You want to get that guy as many reps as you can.
Exactly.
As you can.
Now, it doesn't mean the first day of training camp you have to definitively have the starter, but the Browns
gotta have an idea.
Right. The Browns have had a couple of years under Kevin Stefanski where we didn't know for sure who the starter was going to be like to the last week or two of the season or the preseason. By the time you start playing preseason games at the latest,
right,
you should know who the starting quarterback is, or at least have a very good idea.
Well, and it also helps from like a team perspective, so the team knows who the quarterback's going to be.
The leader?
Who's the leader of the team?
Yeah,
the quarterback always has a big vocal role, and to be able to define that, you know what I'm saying, like before the third or fourth, how many preseason games we play now? Three. Thank you. It's so confusing. Nobody cares anyway.
It'll be too soon enough when they go to 18.
Yeah, it will be. But you get the point. It's important to know who that person is, and everyone then can all of a sudden, gravitate around that guy and rally around it.
And in a quarterback competition, especially there's never a quarterback competition between two guys that are established really, really good quarterbacks. Like, a team doesn't have two of those.
Right. Yeah.
So if one guy doesn't take a significant step ahead by the time that you get to training camp, where you have all those voluntary workouts, where you have all the off-season reps together, it probably doesn't bode well for your team moving forward if you have two guys who haven't established themselves as bona fide QB1s fighting it out, and it's both like, are we sure this guy's actually better than this guy? It probably means you don't really have a guy, right? What's the saying? If you have two quarterbacks, you have none.
One. Yep.
If one can't separate from the other in a quarterback battle situation, the reality is, and not always, there are always exceptions, but the realistic chances of you actually having one bona fide guy, if they can't separate prior to training camp, it's slim to none.
Charles Davis, you played a clip.
Yep.
Charles was on with Ken and Lima this morning, and they asked him who he thinks the starting quarterback is going to be, and he said that Deshaun Watson he thinks is going to be the quarterback. He also said if he were running the Browns, he would have cut Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, but they're not, and he's here, so he's like, well, Deshaun should win the job because he's the most experienced and has had obviously the most success in the league over the other guys who are essentially rookies now.
Right.
So, I mean, Deshaun Watson, what we saw out of him the last time he was on the field was not good enough. So he'd have to be healthy, and he'd have to be somehow, I don't know, mentally stronger or whatever you want to say about prior to his injury, because he was not the same player that he was in Houston.
No, and does he still have the physical talent? I don't know. I mean,
listen. I think he still has physical talent. Does he have that amount of physical? I don't know. It's hard to say. We'll find out. And
it's hard to believe he does. At this
and look,
point.
if you're Todd Monken, like I understand from Todd Monken's standpoint, like he comes in here, he's trying to win.
Yeah.
And if you said, okay, here are these three quarterbacks, like this is what you got. Well, if I'm Todd and I'm trying to win, like I'm absolutely trying to get the most out of all of those guys.
Yeah. He deserves a look.
Yeah.
If you're Todd Monken, why not see what you still have in Deshaun Watson?
They've decided to keep him around. I don't think it's the smart decision.
Yeah.
But that's not my decision. It's the Browns' decision. They're the ones that are paying him the money. Jimmy has him sign the paychecks and continues to sign the paychecks for that player.
Yeah.
And if he's here, he's looking at it like any business owner would be like, okay, well I've got this asset.
Might as well see what you got.
Yeah,
and I think,
I mean,
Bull, you and I have been aligned in the past on.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a high likelihood at all that Deshaun Watson can get back to being the 2020 version of Deshaun Watson that set the NFL on fire, leading the league in passing, 33 touchdowns, 7 picks. But if there's even a slight smidge of a chance, and he's on the roster and you're not fully committed to any other quarterback yet, you might as well go through the process to see if you can bring the best out of him with a new head coach who's coming in with a fresh set of eyes, no prior reservations on this guy versus that guy versus this guy versus that guy. Let them all go to battle. May the best man win. And if that somehow ends up being Deshaun Watson, then so be it.
Right.
You're here to try and win from day one.
But the battle's not going to last for long if Todd Monken has it, because I mean, how much battling are you doing in voluntary workouts in OTAs? I don't know.
Not a lot.
So you know, ultimately, Todd Monken in his mind probably has a favorite, a guy he thinks is the better quarterback. And if I'm Todd Monken, like I know, listen, most of us think they should have moved on from Watson, but I know Zach Jackson and Jason in particular are like, don't play Watson, don't play Watson. And I understand where they're coming from. But if you're Todd Monken, you're 60 years old, whatever he is.
He's 60
you
years old.
finally get a head coaching job for the first time. It may be your only opportunity to be a head coach, and it's with the worst organization or what's been the worst organization in the league. I'm not thinking about who I might get in the draft next year and the year after and the year after. I'm thinking I got to win now.
Yep.
And so for me, if I'm Todd Monken, the only factor in my decision of picking the starting quarterback is who do I think gives me the best chance to win. That's it. I don't care about next year. I don't care about the draft. I don't care about drama. I don't care about off the field. I don't care about any of it. I don't care about fans getting angry. All I care about is determining which quarterback, in my mind, gives me the best chance to win football games. And if that's if he determines it's Deshaun Watson,
so be it.
then I would absolutely play him if I were him. Yeah. As much as we all can't stand him at this point, want to move on, doesn't matter. None of that matters. If Todd Monken thinks he's the guy that can give them the best chance to win and, who knows, crazy world, make the playoffs, then I would absolutely start him, and he will absolutely start him.
And you would then deal with that problem later.
That's right.
You
Whatever
know what I
it
mean?
is, whether it's, do I have to, let's get crazy. Do we have to, as an organization, re-sign Deshaun Watson? Are we now drafting so low we can't get a quarterback in this draft? And you can't keep worrying about the year after. I get it in terms of money. Like, you're not going to trade a first-round pick right now probably because you don't want to miss an opportunity to maybe get a quarterback next year. But once the season starts or the camp starts and the draft's over and free agency's over, as a coach, it's all about winning football games. And if it's not, you're a loser. And if it's not as an organization, you're a loser too. And all the Browns have done is lost.
Fact.
And so if I'm Todd Monken, I want to win some football games. And if I think Deshaun Watson gives me the best chance, I don't care what Dustin Fox, Adam the Bull, Zach Jackson, Jason Lloyd, Mike McNuggets, or any fans think about it. I want to win football games, and I know better than anybody else who gives me the best chance.
He's 60 years old.
Yeah.
It's his first time being an NFL head coach. He was probably not the Browns' first choice, but he ended up being the guy who we kind of know he's not their first choice.
Yeah.
Ends up getting the job. And this is his opportunity. He's waited 60 years for this chance.
I'm not letting politics stand in the way.
I refuse to believe, and maybe I'm wrong, I just refuse to believe that after waiting 60 years for this opportunity, this is the crown jewel of coaching in the profession he's been in for 3+ decades.
He's been waiting since he left the womb.
Exactly. Been waiting for this opportunity to all of a sudden now say, I'm going to go with the guy that maybe is a developmental guy. And I'm not saying whoever he thinks is the best quarterback to win most games, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
But I can't see a world where he comes in and says, hey, let's rock with a developmental guy just to see what he may have.
Yeah.
And then if he's not good, we'll draft a quarterback next year. Then it may take 2-3 years to develop him. And now I'm 64, 65 years old, and I probably still want the head coach of the Cleveland Browns to bear the fruit of the quarterback who's next. Whoever they start this
If that
year,
happens at all.
but you know what I'm saying? In that scenario.
Right.
Whoever Todd Monken chooses to be QB1 in week 1 is the guy I wholeheartedly believe that he believes gives them the best chance to win.
Yeah.
And nothing else matters. You said it, Bull. I could not co-sign that more.
Yeah.
If they give the Browns the best chance to win, whether it's Shedeur, whether it's Deshaun, whether it's Dillon or someone else, that is the guy that the man you see on your screen right there is going to pick to be their week 1 starter.